everybody? Welcome back to the Black Phoenix podcast. From the ashes, we rise again. MC and TR. TR, the Super Bowl is coming. What's good?
Hey, I just know that the Eagles are. I definitely feel confident the Eagles are going to win this Super Bowl. I feel way more confident.
Hey, all I know is if Luca can be traded and still active at 270 pounds, there's hope for a lot of fat people that want to play in the NBA.
Yeah, Luca is that Luca thing. We're not going to discuss that today though. But a very interesting conversation with Luca and the NBA just trading away players. And I think it's more of a shadowy deal that went on in the background. But that's another
Hey,
conversation for another day.
Super Lakers are back.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron definitely needed a lot of people in their prime to help him win some titles. So yeah.
Indeed.
All right, let's get to the first topic.
I am Melissa Butler. I am the founder and CEO of The Lip Bar. The Lip Bar is the largest Black-owned makeup company sold in Target. And so I wanted to get on here and address a lot of the conversation that's been happening. I've made a couple videos already. Um, Obviously, we are disappointed with Target. We have expressed that to Target. I'm not just on here making videos and not saying anything to them. That would be outrageous. Um, yeah, we're upset. And so, as much as y'all are upset, think about how upset the brand founders are
We're
who
not
were
upset.
blindsided. Think about the fact that we are actually in business with them. Like, nope, that's not crossing anybody's mind. Like, yeah, you buy there and you love Target and you love Target and all those things, but we are actually in business. So, however disappointed you feel, know that we are probably more disappointed. I also see that there are a lot of people saying like,
Hold on, I'm gonna stop her real quick. What's interesting when she says we are upset and we have to continue doing business there at Target. Why are you upset in the sense that this is your business partner? So they change some of their policies, and that makes you go out here on the internet, social media, and say you're upset about this. Like it just sounds like she's kind of pandering, trying to tell people, let them know, like, hey, I'm on your side, but because they cut the checks, as we get further in the video, is because they cut the checks. They're our platform to, sell our product. We have to say we're upset. Like, I think that's kind of messed up. I think that's speaking on both sides of your mouth, honestly.
I mean, what she's doing ain't much different than what the NFL does. If you are running a business, you have to maintain a position of neutrality. You have to fence it. We've seen your favorite line is "Go woke, go broke." So we know if you go that route, you're going to suffer. If you go too far the other direction, you're going to
Mhm.
suffer too. So the best way to get your bag is don't piss anybody off. I'm more so looking at it like, let me start with DEI first, because it's never made sense to me. And I keep asking people, maybe somebody in the comments can put me on game. What am I missing with DEI? Because all I have is anecdotal experience. I have DEI experience with four different corporations, two in the United States and two foreign entities, but the DEI message is all the same.
Right.
They've basically told me, face to my face, by the way, we want your black face on this committee, but right now we're only focusing on women and non binary and LGBT. And again, my response to that is, you don't need me then. Why? It's unnecessary to me. So
For a while.
who's benefiting from this? I'm gonna talk about that in just a second because I got an article to support it. But going back to Target, my issue, and I love us black people, I swear I do, but you've heard the expression, y'all playing checkers and they playing chess. I'm here to tell you, we're playing shoots and ladders while they're playing chess.
Yeah.
Look, I just posted an article, TR, and you can see Target tried to make it right with black people a couple years ago when they fumbled the Juneteenth bag. And how did they make it right? They went out and they got 30 different black owned companies whose products that they're pushing now. So you mean to tell me that you're going to punish these black entrepreneurs who are probably hiring black and promoting black all for the sake of DEI, which quite frankly, I'm going to show you later that black folks don't even benefit off of DEI. To me, this is ridiculous and it's a misdirection. If you want to command respect from people, because let's be honest, I don't care if anybody likes us or not. The thing that matters is, can you get stuff done and are you respected? You need money to get stuff done and you need a
Mhm.
code. We have neither, but then when we get people that are trying to do that, we do stuff like this and shoot them in the foot.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up that. While I'm pulling it up, let me go back to the video.
It's wrong for brand founders to keep asking people to shop in Target. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but I know that me, Melissa Butler of the Lip Bar, we have not asked y'all to do that. So y'all don't get to just say that. Y'all don't get to just make up stuff. I literally have not said you still should shop at Target. I didn't say that. All I did was, in fact, I told you that there will be consequences to the small business owners in Target. That doesn't mean that you have to still shop at Target. Don't shop at Target. Fine.
She's
Literally.
as much as Melissa, she's doing a good job of trying to explain, when you want to boycott, you're going to hurt these businesses, but she's also doing a disservice because even though she's not telling you directly to not shop at Target, she's still casting a negative attitude towards Target. Like, she's telling people that, hey, I didn't say it specifically. And then another issue is you have a lot of people that have stepped in. Pastor Jamal Bryant, Reverend Al Sharpton have gone out and said, hey, we need to do some type of boycott towards Target. These are the two. And it's not just those two. There are other people out there saying, like, hey, we need to start doing boycott. So even though she's trying to say, she's not out there saying it, she's trying to help it, but I don't think she's really helping. This video, I mean, it went somewhat viral, but from all the places that I normally get my news from, they're not really covering her conversation, honestly. And so you have these news outlets that, they want to, talk about DEI and also with what relates to Black people, but yet they're not covering stories like this. They never actually cover any stories when it comes to, again, I think she's right, but she's right for the wrong reasons. But they never cover stories like this. So there's probably, and I could probably tell you what the reason is, but I think most people do.
Yeah, I know you couldn't pull up the article, but let me just read some of these Black brands that you are turning your back on with this Target protest. Scotch Porter, TGIN, Kinky Curly, Camille Rose, Black Opal Beauty, Minted Cosmetics. There's 30 different.
There it
Oh, the
is.
Lip Bar. The Lip Bar is one of the ones listed here.
Mhm.
There are 30 different Black owned companies. And this is important because the way we do skin is different, the way we do hair is different, and to an extent, the
There's
way
a
that
need
we
for it. Yes.
yeah,
There's a market
it's a
for it.
niche market, yes.
Yeah.
So I say all this to say you're hurting more than you're helping with this. Now, let's take this a step further. We just saw the brands that Target is pushing, but I want to take the focus back on DEI real quick. We like to post articles to substantiate what we say. I just posted another article, Forbes magazine. I like to go to Forbes because I find them to be unbiased. DEI isn't really a business priority. I'm just going to read a couple
Wait,
of
hold on.
statistics here. Yeah.
Hold on. What? Cards for all people?
Oh yeah, I actually have that game. It's a black based trivia game that people can play. It's
Oh,
pretty fun, but if you're a white person and you ain't tapped in with black folks like that, you're not gonna score a lot of points
I
in that
I
game. Let's just be
bet.
honest. It's
I
pretty fun to
didn't.
play though.
I mean, I bet it is though, but I didn't even know they had something like this. And I mean, I don't play
Yeah.
too many, board games, having too many game nights, anyways. But I almost feel like with something a little specific to, Black people where they have to get around together, that might be that's a very small crowd because they have to find your cards, and I rarely look at cards, especially like I'm not going to Target for board games or anything like that, but especially for adult games as well either. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people are actually finding stuff like this. I mean, besides you know anyone else that plays this card game?
Again, my circle is a little bit different, so I know quite a few people that are familiar with it. But generally speaking, the public
Mhm.
probably doesn't know much about it, and that's a marketing issue.
Yeah. Now I do have niece that they do have some of these dolls. So and that definitely hits everybody. Like you got a daughter, niece, or whatever. Yeah, they're definitely going to. They're definitely have a little bit of daughters, and there's definitely a marketing play right there or ploy right there because not everybody wants the Barbie, or I guess really the Barbie or some of these American Doll girls that are Caucasian, and then hey, let's have a black doll or a doll that somewhat looks like us or whatever the case is.
Quick pivot, because you talked about this dial and representation a little bit. A
Mhm.
quick story for me. So my last employer, not my current, but my last one was
Oh, this is
a
actually pretty cool.
yeah, that is. Remember when the Little Mermaid came out and everybody was freaking out because they made Ariel a black woman?
Yeah.
Well, one of my coworkers is a redhead, like pure redhead, and we were talking about that. She's one of the white people
Wait,
who
a
actually
black
have.
redhead or a white
No,
redhead?
no, she's a white redhead,
Got it.
straight pure Irish, living in the states now. We're talking about this, and she told me, and I this has stuck with me to this day. She said Ariel being a redhead was important to me because when I was younger and growing up, there was like misconceptions associated with redheads. About certain things about pain tolerances and witchcraft and beauty
Mhm.
standards and things like that. So she made the statement to me that I can't let that go because Ariel was a positive representation of us. So every time you do these pander things like DEIs or pandering in movies and in media, you're taking something away from somebody else. So
Yeah.
it's not really making things balanced or equitable. But going back to Forbes, like I said, I roll with Forbes because they're pretty unbiased. They did a study. The article's right there, TR. 804 HR professionals. And here were some of the observations that they took away. Only 12% of companies hold managers responsible for recruiting diverse candidates.
Hey, MC, real quick, just a quick point out. This
Yeah,
article was in 2022. For some people that, might think that DI just hasn't been a problem, that's a lie. And even before 2022 was a problem, but just want to call out the date.
yeah. 75% of companies do not have DEI included in their company's leadership or development. It's treated as a compliance issue.
Hmm.
32% of companies mandate any form of DEI training for employees, and only 34% offers such training. 22% of companies believe they are recognized by their employees, customers, or suppliers as leaders in DEI. So here's some substantiation for you, but ultimately, let's get to the bottom line. Guess who benefits the most from DEI?
Wait.
White.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Who I see champion the most? A lot of black women and a lot of black men champion the most for DEI. So it has to be one of those two, right?
No. So see, we don't do with feel good stuff on the Black Phoenix podcast. We deal with results. Who
Yep.
has benefited the most from DEI, ladies and gentlemen? The answer is white women. The
Yep.
same white women that benefited from feminism more than you did, the same ones that benefited from affirmative action more than you did.
Hmm.
And I'm telling you, we're being played again. We're worried about the wrong things. Get the bag, lift your fellow people up, and that's how you get equity in the game. We're over worrying about what other people think about us. You are smart enough, you are good enough. Go out there and get the bag.
Yeah, and you bring up such a strong point too when it comes to how let me go back here, how the feminism racket has been sold to black women, as well as I forgot the second thing you said though, but in relates to like DEI, here we are again using black faces to push a lot of liberal agendas because in order for people to want to listen most cases you want to send a black woman to for them to listen to you, and sometimes you can send a black man. But what I've been seeing lately from the liberal side is they've been sending women, and specifically black women, i.e. Jasmine Crockett, because she's been trending all over the place, and she's getting a lot of people riled up. Where she works in the Congress, so if she wants to do something, she needs to work with her contemporaries. But she can't do anything because she's alienating the folks that she needs to work with. They're never going to work with her. And then we have a lot of people that are in the Congress that are, uh, when it comes to like working and trying to like, hey, let's do what's in the best interest of American people. We can't do that now. And I'm not going to say it's just only on Jasmine Crockett's side because there's definitely been a lot of smoke on the other side. But the person that the media has been loving, their darlings, has been Jasmine Crockett and AOC, and they have an assortment of issues, and they do not do anything to like help assist with reaching across the aisle, as well as the constituents or really Americans as a whole. They might look out for their constituents, but they're not looking out for Americans as a whole. You need to do what's in the best interest of black people, or not black people, but U.S. citizens. But they specifically use black people to push their narrative, their agenda, even with the Fannie Willises of the world, where they used her to go after Trump. And we watched how, look how that worked out.
Yeah, and the McKinsey Corporation, I've talked about them before too. They do pretty good research too. Has constantly identified black consumer loyalty. And they actually estimate that the black American dollar will be worth 300 billion probably within the next couple of years,
Oh yeah, we
right?
got the money. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. We have the money, we just don't have the plan. Every time I look at somebody complaining about DEI or race, I see them as somebody begging people who don't want to accept them to accept them. And my thing is,
Hmm.
they've already decided if they're going to accept you or not. If they do, cool. If they don't, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. You have the resources to get this bag. Stop
Yep.
playing. Stop
And
complaining.
I will say this, and this is kind of to your point earlier, where who does DEI help the most? And it's generally white women. And then if I go further down that list, I'd probably say the LGBT, and then you get to black women and black men. Now, and I separate the black men and black women because when I look at that list, I was actually surprised with some of that stuff that's on there. Some of that stuff does look interesting. And now that I'm gonna have a better awareness, I can definitely take a look at it. But the other thing is, most of that stuff is actually maybe I don't know who created all that stuff, but it definitely has a woman's touch. So men, I don't know what you're doing, but you're getting left behind on well, the DI the scam is already over. So if you didn't get a chance to cash in on it, it's probably too late though. So
Yeah, and I'm gonna just end on this. The reason why I'm not freaking out about this, there's two types of people when you run across animosity. There's the ones that are gonna push through,
mhm.
like me. I'm gonna be okay. No matter what happens, I'm gonna be fine. And then there's the victims, and the victims don't get stuff done. So
Nope.
which one are you? That's what you got to ask yourself.
Facts.
Don't do it. Like, we have created distribution channels for ourselves to support ourselves. We have our website, we have a store in the heart of downtown Detroit. Like, I understand we are all disappointed and we are all still waiting for answers. Been in store, you should just leave Target. That's unfortunately that's not how it works. If we decided to leave Target just today, just to walk away, we would have millions of dollars that we would have to pay them. That will bankrupt us.
Also, this is a great point by Melissa because it highlights the education or the lack of education when it comes to like working with some of these businesses. She's absolutely right. They're going to be bankrupt. They have all that inventory that they cannot move. They have all these commitments. And for them to be like, hey, I don't like how you guys did something, so we're going to just walk away. Well, you can walk away, but you're going to have to either sell your brand to us, or you're going to have to cut us a check for what we've already spent to help promote your brand. And this is a conversation why a lot of these companies and some of these universities are getting out of the DEI business because they know, again, Melissa, she's laying out I feel like a case that most people would understand where she's coming from. Again, I think she's right, but just for the wrong reasons. But she's telling people about the whole DEI thing. But if you start going down the route of with DEI, it's going to end in a lawsuit. Target is getting sued by their shareholders. I'll try to find the article, but they're being sued by their shareholders on the conversation that DEI carries a lot of risks. And we're not talking about risks as in we're gonna people on the quote unquote right are going to be upset with the business. No, they're talking about when DEI goes wrong because of what they're doing with this whole DEI stuff. They're getting a lawsuit because the shareholders have lost money. And if you remember, they lost money, I want to say last year, over the swimwear that they had for boys, the swimsuits they
Yeah.
had for boys, the tuck friendly swimsuits. Again, pause. So this is the risk that a lot of these companies are like, you know what? We're getting out of the business, Amazon's, the Walmarts, and we're getting out of the business, and we do not want to be involved with like any of these DEI things. Everything's gonna be based on merit. And Melissa she does have a good conversation on what's going on behind the scenes. But for it, as in the Black community, we're too emotional about this stuff, like way too emotional. And I probably would say other communities too, because whenever somebody does something you don't like, people like lose their mind, especially over like the I forgot the chick that was singing at the White House inauguration. But whatever her name is, but people lost their minds over stuff like that though. So and they tried to cancel her, but they couldn't cancel. She was a country singer. But with Melissa Butler, I mean, she's out there trying to have the conversation, and for the most part, from what I can see, is that she's not getting dragged in the comments or anything. But again, it's just it speaks to like the lack of knowledge that we have as a community when it comes to like how businesses really work. And it's not just like, hey, you just pull things out. No, there'll be consequences that nobody that's telling her to do any of this stuff is going to show up and help.
Yeah, man, we just got our priorities wrong. Look, Target, my wife wrote a children's book, and Target decided to list it. They were running a program where they were actively looking for black women who are entrepreneurs and putting on their products.
Mm-hmm.
And then you turn around and do this. I care about the results. There's a lot of black authors on Target's website. As a matter of fact, Walmart picked up my wife's book too, and these are the ones that were talking about boycotting, and they're openly trying to put money in our pockets. Like
Yeah.
it don't make sense to me. It doesn't.
Yeah. And, honestly, what Target should have just done is like, look, we want to get more inventory in our stores. We want to get a diversity of product. I hate saying diversity because then you already know what that means. But whatever it is, like you see a need, there's an opportunity for you to make money off of it. Then just say that. Keep it just to that. And then you have a board or whatever review which products or however you do all the other products. But they specifically had to go down the whole DEI route, and it blew up in their faces. Let me see if I can find that story with Al Sharpton, because I think we pretty much have cooked the Melissa's conversation. Al Sharpton is another one where he is leading the, grab your torches and pitchforks towards Target. Al Sharpton has been a race hustler for as long as I can remember. And it wasn't until until some in the last several years when I realized that Al Sharpton was a straight up charlatan when it comes to helping the Black community. He's more or less like someone that will strong arm these companies into donating to his nonprofit organization, or doing something that that appears like he's working with them, but he really isn't working with them.
Yeah, I know Al Sharpton's been controversial for a lot of people. I see some value in some of the things that he does because at the end of the day, you do need people who can stir the pot. I sometimes question if he's over benefited from black pain. But that's a different conversation for a different day. I'm not going to completely ignore all his contributions, but lately he's been off. He's off here. So is Jamal Bryant. They're all off to me right now. And
Yep.
I think they're out of touch too.
Way out of touch. This is wild. Man, and so just to give some background on this, Al Sharpton is doing a reverse boycott by giving a bunch of like I don't even feel black people were there, but he gave them all $100, and he had a brief speech on why they want to continue doing business at Costco, which this is the most I've ever seen any black people at Costco. Whenever I've been at Costco, I don't see that many black people. I mainly see white people. I see a lot of Indians, but I don't see a lot of black people there. I mean, they're definitely there, but I just don't see as many as I do at this at Costco locations. Now, what's interesting about this whole thing with Al Sharpton, is that he's telling people to quit or to not shop at these businesses. Al Sharpton still sells his books at Target and on Amazon. That's the conversation I don't understand why people are not even having. Like, why would you listen to Al Sharpton on this particular matter when he still has not pulled any of his books from the Target website? That's the thing that's most puzzling to me, and why people still listen to him is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, look, I think we beat this as much as we're going to beat it. Pause. But again, the focus should be, if you're going to follow a celebrity, follow Ice Cube. I mean, if he's at least he's getting out here getting tangible results. This is all just wordplay and playing with people's emotions. You're never going to top somebody who locked in a $100 million deal for black vendors with the NFL. You're not going to top that right now. So
Right.
you're not.
Yeah. There he is, still selling his book. You can get it for like $12 if you wanted to. So, food for thought. This is whenever wherever these folks are telling you where to go and how to shop. This is where you need to start looking at the money and how the money impacts them, or if they've donated to them as well too. So,
And again, I'm fine with diversity and inclusion, but it cannot be forced. It has to be organic because all you're going to do is create more tension if you force it.
exactly. All right. Next topic.
Want you guys to be better friends. So do we is our first time hanging out outside of the office? Yeah, yeah. What?
Whoops.
Wow. What do they do with it? Oh my god, I love it! Okay, wait, what made you want to ask him? Huh? Oh my god, don't get scared. What? Oh, it's not that. Wow, it's not that. Wow, look at you. Yeah. I could leave right now if I wanted. I can roast you too. You can't just roast all of us and get nothing. Whoa! See? So you were afraid because I felt like I was saying you're gay. I can take the mic. Come on. It's okay.
This is like really weird, cringy.
I have plenty of material.
And comment, unfortunately.
For you. Let's move on. Small dick energy. Let's clap for him.
Yikes.
I will say this, it is such a hard time in this world right now. There's so many people that came together to be supportive and fucking amazing, and you're putting negative. No, fucking look me in the eyes. You're putting negative fucking energy out here. This is the last show of my fucking. Look me in the fucking eye.
Oh my god.
The last show of my fucking weekend is a sold out show, and you want to say mean shit to me, okay? So don't fucking do that.
Look at the crowd just go along with it. He totally lost it.
Thank you. Yes. You can leave. You can leave. Leave! Can I have a drink, please? Let's do a fucking shot.
All right, so I'm gonna leave it right there. Nothing really happens after that. I mean, they do get them up out the paint, but thoughts, MC?
They both took an L as far as I'm concerned. First of all, you goofy people that come to comedy shows to make it about you, y'all the worst. I go to a lot of comedy shows. I am a huge fan of comedy, real comedy, not the manufactured comedy that y'all like to push in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
This dude was trash. He got offended for basically no reason. She was just asking questions about the lady he was sitting with. Comedians do crowd work all the time.
Well, if you sit in the front row, you got to expect to catch that smoke, and
that too. And this sounded like this might have been a corporate comedy show, which is even worse because I've seen CEOs and higher ups sit in the front row and they can't take a joke. And it's like, dude, you came to a comedy show. You're goofy. Get out of here. The comedian, she wasn't very funny, and she actually kind of got triggered too.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
like comedians that kill with jokes. Like I've seen comedians piss people off. I've seen comedians cause couples to break up in the middle of the show. Like Corey Holcomb is savage about stuff like that. Andrew Schultz can kill you with words. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Cat Williams, etc. I much rather she would have kept her cool and killed him with jokes, just
yeah,
joke after joke after joke till he got pissed off and couldn't take it. That's the type of comedy I like to see. But I saw two L's here.
yeah. Now, I mean, watching that video at first when I saw it, I didn't realize I didn't catch the first part of it. But I mean, yeah, you sit in the front row, you're gonna probably get some crowd work done on you. But the thing that I'm blown away is how many people were okay with her just getting all triggered. And maybe that was the joke. Maybe that was they enjoyed her getting triggered and everything. But that's not appropriate. You're a comedian and you lose it doesn't that's all it takes for you to lose your cool. Not to mention she did insult him. Like there was a point where it was funny and then it wasn't funny. And then when she said he had like, little D energy, that's when it was like it really went off the rails because it's like, what is he supposed to say to that? Especially with some chick with him. Maybe there was a chick he was trying to bang or something, or because he couldn't bang. Maybe he was like in the friend zone, and she brought up like some hard feelings that he knows that he's not going to be able to take her home, but she's asking about all this crowd work. Now, I have seen in situations where, the community does some crowd work where they do bring some couples up. Sometimes it gets awkward. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it works out. But she was definitely in the wrong on something like this, though. But I think it's a conversation about her using, I would dare I say, some femininity to get this guy pushed. I don't know if he said anything after he said why are you talking to me, or why do you don't have any material or something. I think she just used the femininity card and got that dude kicked out because he really didn't say anything crazy after that.
Yeah, like the whole negative energy thing, that kind of was weird. But
Yeah.
here's my message to men: don't argue with women, especially ones that you don't know. Don't go
Women
back and
comedians.
forth. Yeah, if she's not listening to you, just end the conversation and walk away. Like,
Yeah.
especially if you don't know her. This dude looks goofy doing this stuff. Look, the last comedy show I went to, the guy sitting behind me, I went to see Carlos Miller when he came to Phoenix
Hmm.
last year. The guy sitting behind me, and I knew it was going to end bad because he kept adding. You know, when people do add-ons to the joke, they got to put their little spin on it.
Yeah.
Carlos was telling a joke about eating box, and the dude sitting behind us, and everybody around us was getting pissed at him. He was talking about how he eats the box while his girl was with him. And for some reason, he felt encouraged enough to get up and walk towards the stage and explain to the entire crowd how he eats box. So he got basically, it escalated a little bit. Carlos tried to talk him down, but dude just wouldn't calm down. So he reaches and grabs for a chair. Now, anybody who's seen the Boondocks knows what happens when the chair is thrown.
Yeah.
Ninjas is gonna start fighting. So at this point, I'm looking at my wife like I'm doing my leader thing, like, "Hey, babe, it's time to go," because I knew what was
Yeah.
happening next,
Which
and that's
is which
exactly what
is
happened.
which a lot of women never understand. They want to go see the action, want to see how it unfolds. Most men on purpose, they're looking at like, oh, this is about to go south. So let's start making our way towards the exit and let's get ready to go. Real quick though, it's hard for me to watch any woman comedian, but I will say one of the comedians I do like is Whitney Cummings, and I'm gonna say Nikki Glazer, and then
Michelle Wolf,
yeah, who'd you say?
Michelle Wolf is
Oh
dope.
yeah, yeah, Michelle Wolf.
Ally
Uh,
Long is dope.
Wanda Sykes sometimes is funny. I do watch her on the when she's in a movie, but I don't like her doing her stand up. I don't know what it is about her stand up. It's not as funny to me. But when she's in movies, I think she is funny. She's one of the few, like when she's on screen, she's funny.
Yeah, she's got a show on Netflix where she's killing it right now with oh my god, what's my girl's name? Kim Fields. She's got a show with Kim
Oh yeah,
Fields and
yeah.
Mike Epps. It's pretty dope.
Oh yeah,
And
Kim Fields. Yeah.
Cheryl Underwood is dope too. She just did an interview with Shannon Sharp last week. You should check it out. It's hilarious. But there's some good female comedians out there. This lady wasn't one of them though.
No, no, not at all. And honestly though, here's the thing where I think, why did his chick not say anything? I think there really is an issue with the chick with that chick that was there, because he was trying to have a conversation from both of them, and his chick didn't say anything while he's getting like, which I wonder if the chick left because she told him to get out because he got pushed, he got escorted out. But I wonder if his chick left with him,
Hit
which is
dogs
bad if
holler.
he did it.
Hit dogs holler all the time.
All right. Next topic.
Men live a harder life than women, and I got data here to show you. Now, obviously, this upsets a lot of different people saying, Pat, how could you say something like that? Blanket statement, men live a harder life than women? Yes. Brace for impact, whether you're going to like it or not. Wait till the end. If you do get value out of this, and he said this is kind of a good point he's making, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If not, go watch a different video, okay? So let's get right into it. So based on a research done, DNA research by Dr. Baumeister, he explains that in today's human population is descended from twice as many women as men. Now, what does this mean? In the history of mankind, 80% of women have reproduced and have had kids. Only 40% of men have ever reproduced.
Wow.
So
Stop right there.
women, 40.
So that's the first point right there. We have said this multiple times. And for those of you who want the references, you have to go to his YouTube video. He lists all of them there.
Mhm.
I have surmised time and time again on this podcast that women have more sex than men, and this is the proof. The proof
Yeah.
is in the breeding. Um, Almost at double the rate, as a matter of fact. Kevin Sim used to always talk about one half of men are single and childless, and we also know that incels are on the rise. 1 in 3 men have not had any sexual contact within the last year.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, women are getting it in. Like that number does not correlate with the opposite sex. So now we've established a premise that women are having more sex than men.
Yeah, that's a very fascinating point, though, because we always hear this conversation that a lot of men just have kids, or at least when it comes to dating, a lot of women imply that, all these men have kids, yada yada, and definitely not the case. I mean, after like doing some research, I have realized that yeah, men are not out here. Men do not have like a crazy amount of kids. We have like a lot of women with, a man could have like 4 baby mamas, 5 baby mamas, like very easily. So yeah, there definitely are a lot of women that are out producing, or not out producing, but they're giving birth. So that's already implied that they're out here in these streets.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, my bad. I'll go ahead.
I was gonna say like yeah, no, that's just crazy. Like to put it that way is actually pretty clear. I think most people should understand that.
Yeah. Look at it this way for anybody who's listening. Everybody has at least one friend slash relative that has multiple kids by multiple women. And
Yeah,
then on the opposite end of that, you have at least one friend slash relative who's socially awkward, who's pretty bad with dealing with women, and who has trouble connecting with them. There's never an in the middle. It's usually one extreme or the other. The middle exists, but we rarely ever see it. We're from a town we're from a city that has 1 million people, but the population, people know each other, right?
hmm,
So we know who the fertile folks are in our town. There's a very small number of guys out here clapping all the chicks and getting them pregnant in our hometown, and I'm sure that story is the same in lots of other towns.
yeah. It's a little unfortunate though, because people are still having people refuse to realize this is a thing. And then for the men out there, it's really kind of up to you because you're in high demand. Most of these women, once they get to a certain age, like in their 30s, they're still looking for a guy that doesn't have kids. And they will prefer a guy that doesn't have kids, no matter what they say or how they want to say or spin it or reframe it. They are looking for a guy that doesn't have kids. So if they do have kids, then that's in some cases kind of a silver medal for them. But if they find a guy with no kid, I mean, they're definitely going to jump on that. So men, if you keep it the way, if you keep it, you stay on your purpose, you're definitely going to have the pick of your pick of your choice in most cases.
Yeah, and unfortunately, another thing that Kevin Samuels used to say is you'll never do better than the father of your first child. So
Facts.
if you got knocked up by a bum the very first time around, the chances of you doing better than that when you try it again with another guy, they're pretty low. You've
Yeah.
never heard the story of a woman who got knocked up by a bum and then turned around and married a doctor. And then I think this is the point in the conversation where a woman usually interjects and says, "Well, that happened to me." Well, ma'am, you're in the minority. The exception does not mean the rule.
Fringe minority.
Yeah. For this one, you want to jump to 124. Yep.
Men swipe right 53% of the time. That means they're interested. 47% of the time, they say, nope, I'm not interested. However, for women, you ready? Ladies, this is you now. Okay, this represents your number according to Tinder. You ready? Women only swipe right 5% of the time. 95% of the time, you say, I am not interested, swipe left.
Right
a
there.
rejection to the man.
I believe that.
Yeah, so this is how social media impacts things, right? So now we've opened up the entire market instead of a localized market, which
Mhm.
benefits women. So these women that are on social media are used to likes, clicks, sliding in
Attention.
DMs, thirst, attention. Yep, meat. Women want the meat, money, energy, attention, and time. They're getting lots of attention on social media.
Yeah.
So now they're getting exposed to all of this, and their egos become overinflated. Well, men don't have that same experience. So now the scales are like getting out of balance. So now we're leaning towards women being the dominant force in the dating market. That's the takeaway from that part of the conversation. But again, I'm not single, but I talk to a lot of people who are, and this is
Yeah.
their observations as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that Patrick, that David had a conversation like this, because CJ has something similar, but he was speaking more toward how the dating apps are monetized on your suffering. Really, this isn't about love. These apps are designed to keep you single, and it's also monetized in a way that, yeah, I mean, everybody's going to like, well, if you want to get more action or more interactions, you got to pay a little bit more, but it's actually way more sinister than that, though. So he had a conversation, or he basically described the way that when you start putting in all your attributes or all your, things about yourself, they start slotting you into a tier. They really have an algorithm, honestly. And so because of who you are, like it's terrible for black men. I mean, I'm going to tell you this. This is why it's terrible for black men, though, because when you put on your ethnicity of like what race you are or whatever, and I tested this out. I tested it out on Bumble. When I put it on Bumble, when I say I'm black, who do you think they're sending me? Who do you think they're sending me? MC.
I'm waiting to hear this. I'm
Come on,
curious. I don't know.
just tell me.
Are they sending you to Becky's?
But they are, but they're sending me a whole lot of women that are how you say high calorie. Um I don't know.
Okay.
Like this is terrible. Like I know some of the men out there, some of the black men. I get it that you don't have like a real standard or something like that. But I am not taking high calorie individuals. I don't care what it is. I don't care how you want to describe it. But because I put it on there that I'm a black American, they send me high calorie individuals because I'm assuming from their algorithm, this is what black men tend to like on there. And if you don't believe me, create a Bumble or recreate your account and then don't put your ethnicity if you can. I don't think I mean I don't know about the other ones, but I know when it comes to like your ethnicity on Bumble, you can actually just leave it off. So it's definitely up to you if you want to test it out. But you'll see a different segment of women, and then for the women that are top tier, they lock them behind like a paywall. So if you see a woman you do like, chances are you're not going to be able to swipe on her anyways because they want the men to pay to interact with that woman. And we just saw with Patrick Bet David, there's only 5% of women that are really liking or really interacting on the app where they're, that they generally have an interest in or, genuine. But there's some interest there. But it's a very small percentage though. So when you do find someone or you find a woman, she likes you or whatever the case is, I mean, that's actually a pretty good thing though. But again, the odds are stacked against you.
Yeah, I think I told you over the phone the story about one of my fraternity brothers who's 24. He stepped to a chick, asked her out on a date, and she essentially said, "You have to cash out me $100 to take me out on a date."
Sheesh.
So you have to pay her in order to take her out to pay for the date again. Like I keep hearing this, and Coach Greg Adams talks about how dating essentially is prostitution, and I'm starting to wonder if there's some validity to that because it seems like that's how it's evolving. It really does.
Oh, isn't marriage prostitution too?
So this is where it gets tricky because married women want the same meat that single women want, right? Money,
Mhm.
energy, attention, and time. And this is where I get into the conversation of what's the difference between a simp and a good man. When the reality is they're more similar than they are different. There's really only one difference. The difference between a simp and a good man is the woman that he's providing for, does she deserve it? If she does not and you're giving it to her anyway, then you're a simp. If she's a woman who is doing all of her duties in the house and taking care of the family, make sure everybody's good, that makes you a good man. So it's really easy to get them confused because they are very similar. It comes down to the intent of the woman that you're providing for because we are providers by nature. Now, let me ask you a quick trivia question. According to the CDC, because you talked about high calories, of course, we're getting fatter as a country, but what race of people do you think are the fattest in the United States?
Oh, unfortunately, I think it's gonna fall on the black community.
It does fall on the black community. 49.9% of black people in the United States are considered obese. But
Mhm.
I'll tell you what, the Hispanic folks are catching up with us. They're at
Oh, I
45.6.
know
So
they are.
yeah, there's definitely some weight challenges going on right now in this country. And for the record, I'm glad RFK is going to be running Health and Human Services because he's going to help with some of that stuff.
Yeah, you would think with when it comes to RFK when he's getting confirmed, a lot of people have a lot of issues with it. And it's like, do you guys not see what's going on with like just food in America? And then some of the things that if you go to a different, part of the world, they don't have all these, ingredients or things that keep food fresh for like, 30 days. Like that's not natural. So you would think people would be a little more open to RFK though, but unfortunately, that's another topic for a conversation though. But yeah, getting back to the whole dating thing is definitely a scam. So if you're out there trying to find and there are going to be people out there that are going to say like, oh well, I know so and so found their soulmate or whatever, their wife or whatever. Yeah, we all know a couple of people that have definitely found their person on those dating apps. The majority of you will not. There, there's not going to be any there's not going to be a wedding, there's not going to be a like your forever after, like those conversations are not even happening anymore. I feel like that was kind of a thing back in 2020 where a lot of people were kind of stuck in, so they had to make relationships happen a little bit more than they usually would. But when it comes to like this dating nowadays, nope, it's straight up monetized. And honestly, I would think for a lot of women out there, you should know that these dating apps are actually pimping you out. Because again, when I said earlier, the top tier women are locked behind a paywall. You're not getting paid for that. So
Yeah.
they're using you as bait to get these men to purchase more services so they can interact with you. But again, you're being pimped out and you're not even getting paid.
I'm gonna put y'all into a little game too, and I confirmed this with a coworker who used to do this. Believe it or not, a lot of these women that you see on IG that are taking these pictures in these places and they flashing all this money and these nice cars in these hotels. Do you know how they're getting that money? They're selling themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Sell the box.
look into the Dubai contract and look into the women and how much money they make to get flown over there to have nasty and gross things done to them for a big sack of cash. And they come right back home and kiss y'all ninjas right in the mouth.
Yeah, that's you. Yep. Yeah.
Oh man.
Dating, I mean, for people thinking that dating, like I feel for the newly divorced folks that get out here, they're thinking that things are going to be a little bit smooth sailing and yada yada. It ain't like that. Like a lot of them find out the hard way, especially some of the guys, they find out like what is wrong with like these crops of women, why are women like very flaky? Like these dating apps are against men. They're not here to help you find somebody because there's more men on these dating apps than there are women, and the women are rarely engaging with folks. So when you do get on these dating apps, you better pull out all the punches. You better have professional photos and have a yacht in the background and be riding a damn tiger, whatever it is, to kind of catch their attention. Though this is what you have to do in order to get some of these top tier women. But again, like I said earlier, you kind of have to remove some of the filters on your profile. Honestly, you probably just have a blank profile and put a couple words in there, because their algorithms are set up against you to remove the top tier women that you probably would like. Because I mean, for most of them, they're going to know who they like, but they're going to start sending you all the they're going to send you that's who they're going to send you. That's who they're going to send you. Like, and I'm just telling you, if you don't believe me, get on these days. MC, obviously you don't want to get on there, but for some of you men out there, even, and this other thing too, that, you know, Bumble is by itself, but all of these other dating sites like Christian Mingle, Farmers Only, Match, Hinge, they're all owned by the same company. So why does a company have so many dating apps, but we don't see an increase? We're not seeing the increase in marriages. We're not seeing the increase in people, like, you know, saying, speaking to the, you know, the highest heavens of like, hey, we met on a dating app. Like, those conversations aren't even happening anymore. I mean, it's been a long time since I heard somebody speaks very fondly on a dating app. And you got the, you know, the Tinders, they're also owned by the same company as well too. So, you know, press your luck on some of this stuff though. But again, I don't think these dating apps are the way to go. If you're seriously trying to find somebody on there, it's not going to work. If you're just trying to clap cheeks, hey, there you go.
Hey, so you talking about the single life? I'm here to tell you, these married people be complaining too. Like, if you want to see some dysfunctional stuff, join the marriage group on Reddit. There's nothing but people on
I'm
there
on there.
complaining about marriage. There's, I think my husband cheated on me. My wife hasn't touched me in 6 months, and I'm like,
Oh
what the
man.
hell kind of marriages is y'all in? Because
Hey,
that stuff is not negotiable in this house.
yeah.
I don't
I
know what kind of marriages they got going on in there. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've definitely looked at the marriage groups on there though, and the relationships groups on there, because, you know, if you don't have like a vast circle of people like really like having those conversations, you really don't know what's going out there. But these people are damn serious about some of their marriages, and it's definitely telling me like, hey, if I see something wrong or something's off or wrong or something, that ain't gonna work for me. Like, people are a serious, or, you know exactly what they're looking for, and then they're settling for a lot of things, especially like in the case of, you know, my wife hasn't, you know, did anything for me and wants to, you know, hang out or wants to hook up with a chick, but doesn't want you involved. That's crazy to me. Like, this is what y'all put up
True.
for? Hell no.
Man, I literally saw a woman complaining. She said her husband hasn't touched her in a year, but she also said that she's 120 pounds heavier than what she used to be.
Yep.
And
Bait and switch.
somebody asked her, because one of the things that they'll do is they'll try to say it's because of the kids. Somebody asked her how old her youngest kid was, and I think she said 4 or 5. So and she was complaining that the husband wasn't touching her, didn't want to do anything with her. And I'm just like, man, this is terrible, man. Like, we,
Yeah.
we got I've said this before, but married people and monogamous people are some of the laziest daters out there, because they think that the goal has been reached and they just get lax with it.
Hmm.
Nah, you
Yeah.
got to stop doing that. But
Honestly, though, I feel like CJ probably has the best response to something like this, though, living the free agent life. And definitely go see CGA, though. But when it comes to like trying to find your place in this world with like somebody else, it's probably going to be very rare, especially if you're over 30 or you're going into your 40s. It's probably going to be very rare that you're going to find someone that kind of like is your, you know, someone you want to marry, because all the risk is on you. So if it goes, you know, if it goes south, then you're asked out and you got to restart all over again, especially if you guys have a kid. Like, some of these men should be actually glad that the women walked away. I mean, in our audience, especially some of our videos, I've seen a lot of these men discuss, you know, the harm that some of these women have done to them. And honestly, I think some of them will go back to them. I mean, just keeping it, you know, 100, because if they haven't found anybody, they're like, oh, I want to die alone. Hey, everybody dies alone. But if you're gonna want to be in some of these relationships, I don't think that's the answer either, though, because, and obviously I'm talking about people that are single, not you have a kid together. So but if you have a kid together, I believe you need to work that out as much as you can, as long as it's not like, you know, something abusive or gambling or something super degenerate that would definitely erode a marriage. But outside of that, though, I think you got to work on that. But for the single folks, and when you get out here, You might start talking to your single friends so you kind of get a lay of the land.
That's why I don't fault divorce is such a big problem right now, because the truth of the matter is, if you're getting divorced, it's somebody's fault. Somebody
Always.
tapped out first, or somebody self sabotaged, or something happened where the other person. Nobody just. I know CGA, who you just acknowledged, and I
Mhm.
listen to CGA too. As a married man, I enjoy CGA show, but if a woman just says I'm not happy anymore, that is such a weak and lame
I'm
reason for
not
a
happy.
divorce. There something drove that unhappiness, and maybe it's because you are mentally unstable, or maybe it is because of something he's doing, but it's somebody's fault at the end of the day. But there's one more part of this clip I think we need to talk about, TR.
Oh yeah.
Jump to the 2 minute mark. Yep.
value. We found this chart showing in the attractiveness of how attractive you are in the women category. Like, are you in the 80 percentile, 10 percentile, 90 percentile? How many men are still interested in a woman that's this percentile of attractiveness? So it's a little bit of a crazy chart, but I'm going to put it up and we'll go through this together. So here's what it is. If you look at the
Stop right
chart,
there.
you see the female advantage.
Actually, let me share, because I want to really make sure everybody understands what's going on with
Mhm.
this chart, because this is what I want to share with y'all. Let me share really quick. Let's see. There it is. All right. So this is the male female attractiveness matrix. So full disclosure here, men and women typically don't view attractiveness the same way. Women more so look for resources in addition to looks, but ultimately we don't rate attractiveness the same way. So let me show you how to read this chart. So you start over here on the male side. Let's say that the women put you in the 60th percentile of attractiveness. So let's start here. If this is where you stand as a man, what you need to do is go this way, and as soon as you hit the pink, that's what you're going to get. So women that view you in the 60th percentile, you're going to get women who are, what is this, the 10th percentile?
Holy
So
crap.
so essentially what I'm
Take
telling you
less.
is, despite contrary to popular belief, this chart tells me that women have more shallow views on men than men do on women. That's ultimately what the takeaway is here. A couple things I do want to call out, TR, and I'm gonna turn it over to you. So here's the man at 100%. Obviously, the world is his. If you take it all
Hmm.
the way over here, he doesn't touch the pink until the 100% of women. So he can have his pickings of all of this here.
Yeah.
Now what typically happens is this 100 guy, he's going to dig into some of these women here. He's going to grab. He's going to and these women are typically sharing. These are the high value men that Kevin Samuels always talked about. So
Yep.
he can get something from here, something from here. All these women are sharing this 100 man up here, leaving all of these ninjas down here to fend for what's left. That's all I wanted to say, TR.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
That's actually a great way, a great representation on how men just need to win. Now, you might be in a 60. Actually, you want to go back to that, MC?
Oh, my bad. Yep.
All right. So just like MC said, if you're in the 60th percentile, you're picking of women, it's going to be a small percentage women. These are your, I mean, I would say under your 20 or maybe even 40. These are going to be all your
Less.
baby mamas. These are going to be all the high calorie individuals. These are going to be the ones with very problematic. Now, you're probably thinking like, how do I raise this up? This is just attractiveness. And like MC said earlier, women and men have, we have different levels of attractiveness. And for men, it's pretty simple. Like for most men, pretty is everybody's type. Sexy, pretty, that's always going to be everybody's type. Plain Jane, still, that's going to be everybody's type. But for women, I mean, they're rating you on they're not going off your looks in most cases. I probably would say that's probably like maybe 30 or 40%. But you get your money up, and you get your health up a little bit, and you know, it's not if you're bald or not. I mean, money money boosts you from here or to here. Like, and from what I've heard from, you know, CGA, it's not like you got to be making like 100K. Like, as long as you're able to, like, you know, make a decent amount of money, you could probably get your pick of women around in this range. And if you want to go another level, get close to that 100, you're going to have all your options. But unfortunately, for a lot of men, we're conditioned to think, hey, you know, she has like 3 kids. You got to be able to take care of her. You have to be able to, like, you know, she's had a hard life. and every man in her life has been terrible towards her, has been mean towards her, blah blah blah, whatever sob story is. That ain't your problem. Like, no, for a lot of women thinking that this is very difficult, why they can't get a man, they're choosing to not have a man. They're choosing not to go to their friend circle, not to go to the guy that was a good date for them, but they didn't like something very minuscule about that person, about that man. They're choosing a bunch of reasons why they don't want to be with that guy, and they're holding out for that top one, that 100 attractiveness guy, which is probably like the top 1%. They're holding out for that guy, and that guy is telling them like, look, if I am going to be, rocking with you, you ain't going to be the only one. And they're willing to put up with that. That's what you're looking. That's what men, if you can just win, you can keep moving forward. You can like keep improving on yourself. You're going to be in that level between 80 to 100. And this speaks more so towards single men than it does with married men, though, because hopefully in that case, though, you guys have worked it out and you're at a good level with each other. Obviously, married divorces are on the rise, but for the single men, like nobody out here is telling you what you need to do or how you can just level up. And then you level up by like it comes down to money. That's the ugly truth.
Yeah.
Get out here for cheaper or for on game, that ain't gonna work long term, and that's not gonna net you the best women that you're looking for.
Yeah, I was going to say that men can slightly change the curve on that graph by hitting the gym and getting their bag up and chasing their purpose. That's what they can do. On the flip side, if you're a woman though, you can flip this a little bit as well. And I'll use an example here. There's
Yeah,
a certain woman who podcasts, and even she admits that people say that she's not attractive. But a lot of her followers are men because they like the way she presents herself and they like the way that she talks. But this podcaster, just pearly things.
oh, yeah,
People go back and forth on how attractive she is, but what men are attracted to in her, I would tell you, is the way she presents herself. And if she actually believes the stuff that she's saying, then she's always going to have the attention of some man.
yeah. Yeah, and this, honestly though, it's really not tough for a lot of women. So what I see on a lot of dating apps, again, I'm the single one here, and I've been on these dating apps for longer than I would like to be, but I'm on there. And what I do see a lot of is a lot of these women when they get to in their 30s and 40s, they're breaking down. Some of them are they don't weigh as much as me, but they're getting up there in weight. Some of them have multiple kids and some of them are asking for a lot of things on their bio. The bio is supposed to be about you, but you're on there telling the world, telling the men, the pool of men, that you're not going to even ever interact with what you don't want. And let it be a guy that they do want and that does all the opposite things that they're saying in their bio. They're going to make it work for that guy. So again, men, don't be out here all nice and everything. Just do what's in your best interest. Do what's going to be good for you, though, because part of the other thing that I think we're probably focusing on that we need to mention as well too is that you have to know how to handle some of these women as well too, though, because just because you got the money up, you got your body and you're in good condition, that doesn't mean that you're going to have a very good relationship with some of these women as well too, because we all know that women can be very diabolical, and I know men can be diabolical too, but the majority of our audience is men. And so when it comes to like having these conversations about what women will do, you got to be aware of that. You got to be ready for some of the things that are going to ask you, all the shit tests they're going to do for you, do at you, as well as like, hey, that's just my friend, or why are you tripping, why are you being so aggressive, or whatever the case is. And you're just asking a question like, well, why are you going out with your friends on a Friday or Saturday night to a club? Like, you're in a relationship. Like,
Yeah.
those are some of the things that you have to start putting your foot down. And if they want to walk away. They're going to need you before you need them in most cases.
Right.
Like, I have yet to be like, man, I wish I had a chick for, outside the physical. Outside of that, you're not going to really need them. You're not going to be like, damn, I wish I had so-and-so here. No, they're going to need you before you need them. And so this isn't like a diss towards women. This is just telling you the truth on how these dynamics work. And for the men, if you want top top tier women or between the 8s and the 9s, this is what's going to have to happen. And if you don't get 8 and 9, you still have to operate the same way with some of these women.
So to the women who are watching this, here's how you can move up that scale. Kevin Samuels used to always say FBI and CIA. CIA for the fellas, FBI for the women. Be feminine, work on your beauty, hit the gym, and be inspiring. If you can do those three things and you actually mean it, you can slide yourself up that scale. I mean,
Yeah,
it
you're going to
won't be
win.
to the it won't be to the 100, but you can definitely slide up that scale.
Hmm.
I've been in situations where I've been in rooms where all the women in the room were masculine as hell. One feminine woman walks in wearing a dress, being pleasant, knowing how to engage the crowd in the room, and she instantly snatches all the attention of all the men in that room.
Yep.
Oh snap! Who is she? Let me go over here and talk to her and see who she with. Like I've seen this time and time again. Your femininity is your power. It
Hmm.
really is.
Yep. Hey, what was CIA?
CIA was confident, intelligent, and assertive. I think.
Okay. Maybe
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since I heard that verbiage with Kevin Samuels. So, but all right. That is going to wrap up tonight's episode. Any last words, MC?
Yeah, man. I don't want to. Let's real quick with DEI because I'm familiar with a lot of black women who lost their jobs. Seriously, I am, and I want to let it be known that I don't take any joy in this. But I also know that I'm not surprised any of this happened. I know you all are going to land on your feet, but don't take any jobs based on your race because at some point they're going to take it away from you. I promise you they are.
That's a very good
Try to
point.
look for stuff that lines up with your merit and your skill set. I know if we are truly going to be a country of merit, then there is no racism. Will we really be truly based on merit? That's yet to be determined. But the goal is to be that, and that's based on what you know, who you know, and what you apply.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a great closeout. And hey, fly, Eagles, fly. All right. See you, everyone.
Peace.